Hello, everyone. I'm Laura Ingraham. This is Ingram Angle from Washington tonight. Klaus and the gang. That's the focus of tonight's angle. Now, the Associated Press, which was once considered the gold standard in reporting, is now little more than a glorified print version of MSNBC. They've gone from keeping powerful interests in check to protecting them at all costs. So when the globalists at the World Economic Forum need cover, they know where to turn. The poor billionaires, all they want to do is kick around their plans for saving the planet, and instead the AP says their event has become a target of bizarre claims for those who believe a group of elites are manipulating global events for their own benefit. The Great Reset has become shorthand on conservative talk shows for what skeptics say is a reorganization of society. Okay. Hey, fellas at the AP, hate to break it to you, but the truth is not a conspiracy. Now, what does the word reset really mean if it's not a reordering of what came before? I was trying to add up the time earlier today, but I think it's for more than 20 years now I've been reporting on afar from Davos. But now they're apparently offended when we're literally just quoting them and playing the videos that they've posted online. Because, look, if you quote them and post their videos, it's all disinformation. And apparently they've mysteriously removed some of their more controversial videos recently.
If you look at this question of disinformation, I think it maps basically to every other major challenge that we are grappling with as a society, and particularly the most existential among them. Conspiracy, propaganda, clickbait, you know, the broader mix of bad information. That what it attacks is trust.
What Arthur doesn't seem to fathom is that the elites brought this on themselves. Now, the reason the public doesn't trust the media establishment like that guy or the corporate establishment, the public health establishment, is because they've long ago ceased being honest brokers. They've become rank partisans and, of course, committed globalists. So how is it that a bunch of brave doctors were the first to expose the problems with those mRNA COVID shots? Why did the Great Lady dismiss the Hunter Biden laptop story out of hand? Another conspiracy, they called it, please. Now remember, the elites, even our own media, they really don't like your free speech. Because if your views are contrary to theirs, and your views are passionately expressed, it's going to be described as disinformation, misinformation, a conspiracy theory, or their favorite, hate speech. And the European Commission for Values and Transparency want their rules to apply here.
We need the people who understand the language and the case law in the country. Because what qualifies as hate speech, as illegal hate speech, which you will have soon also in the US, I think that we have a strong reason why we have this in the criminal law.
Glad Stelter got a job. Well, Klaus Schwab, the founder of the World Economic Forum, of course, agrees. But he wants to know that, look, all of this is for your own good.
Our global economy is undergoing deep transformation. The energy transition, the consequences of COVID, the reshaping of supply chains are all serving as catalytic forces for the economic transformation. And the most critical fragmentation is between those who take a constructive attitude and those who are just bystanders. But the spirit of Davos is positive, is constructive.
Now, when he says fragmentation, what he really means is differing opinion. And the Davos crowd wants none of that because the elites who want to reorder society, they're always positive, always constructive. And any of you who disagree with what it will require to achieve this sustainable, greener planet, You're always destructive, negative, very negative. Yet the deflectors in the press corps, they're not interested in the truth, because if they were, they'd be digging into the true cost of all this achieving that the elites want, of their vision of a cleaner, more equitable world. And while we're at it, why should we assume pure motives on the part of the World Economic Forum panelists? I mean, Klaus Schwab does sound like a Bond villain. If someone like ESG champion Larry Fink constantly makes excuses for and defends China, where they literally enslave religious minorities and dissenters, why should we listen to anything he says?
Even in the first letter, when I talked about decarbonization and climate, that was in 2020. And all the things I've said are still true today. If you do not have a lens towards decarbonization, you're not going to win one euro of business. A transition has to always be fair and just.
All right. How did Larry get to Davos, by the way? In his solar jet? And how does Larry run his offices? With wind power? Now, he fancies himself the self-appointed moralist of the green agenda, the driver of sustainability and profit. But he's just a fraud. Because in his fantasy land, the little guy always gets shafted. His job gets shipped to China. He has to sell his favorite truck. He can't afford a day at Disney, let alone a week at Davos. And let's not forget, the globalists have always been partial to Europe. Because, let's face it, technocrats essentially run the EU. The people have limited say. They're slow to resist agendas forced upon them, like Angela Merkel's decision to flood the region with an influx of Islamic refugees. Not popular. They didn't do anything about it. And of course, the Davos devotees love China. Klaus and the gang, they don't care that they're the world's biggest polluter and that China continues to build coal plants. In fact, they see the CCP as a very valuable partner.
Since China's up and reform process over 40 years ago, the country has made great contributions to the development of the global economy.
We have to understand China is the #1 driver of clean energy today, with all its pros and cons.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
And we've got to cooperate with them, obviously.
Now, obviously we have to cooperate with them. Now, they completely ignore the fact that since China was admitted to the World Trade Organization, they've become, if anything, more, not less oppressive. But of course, none of that matters to the elites. Then there's America. Now, we are, by our nature, rebels. We test theories. We challenge hypotheses. We question motives. And our founders understood that free inquiry was needed, and we had to protect it in order for us to remain free and an independent nation. In a world of sheep, we've been shepherds. We go our own way to protect our flocks. And when push comes to shove, we won't hesitate, generally, to shove the elites against the wall if they start encroaching on our freedom. But with Biden in the White House, the Davos crowd thinks they have an opening. He's their useful idiot. But they know they may have only a 2-year window to co-opt America and advance their initiatives.
The end is we have to save this planet to save our freedom and the way we are living. And we are not good enough yet. We have to improve.
I feel that you were talking about the word development. I think indeed we don't need like growth or development. I really think less is more. And I'll leave it at that.
No more development. None for you. No more growth. It's back to the Stone Age. Well, beneath all their breathless blather about sustainability and global equity lies the truth about the globalists' real goals. Look, we're not experiencing a planetary emergency. They're experiencing a power emergency, meaning theirs is in jeopardy. Protecting their own perches of influence and money, consolidating their power by any means necessary is their aim. So your modes of transportation, your food sources, how you cook your food, your right to self-defense, your right to free speech, even your right to own property would be sacrificed for the greater good. But just remember this: Klaus and the gang's greatest hits are only popular among a small slice of left-wing fanatics and elites who fly to Davos to virtue signal on the way to the caviar and Cristal. In 2 years, America is going to have a new leader who puts America first and the Davos doofuses on notice. And that's the angle.